Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing the borderline update that I have promised you guys for months. I think I'm ready to do this. I have filmed this video so many times over the last few months and I just have not been able to film one that felt right. And so I'm hoping today that I can do that. My biggest struggle so far when I'm filming it is that I really like to give a positive spin on these things for you guys. So if any of you are struggling with similar things that I am, then at least I can give you like some silver lining or something, some positive stuff, because I really don't like to spread negativity. I like to spin it and spread positivity because I know that that's missing, and I like to break the stigma of borderline, and that's like kind of my whole mission. But I think the reason why I can't really figure out how to make this video for you guys successfully is because I don't have a positive spin on it, and I don't know how to make this positive because I'm really struggling. So I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna tell you what's going on, and I feel like I just need to get this off my chest, like for my own good. I feel better when I can talk about it with you guys and let you know what's going on instead of leaving you in the dark. So I'm sorry that there's no real like way for me to inspire hope in this one. I just am in a dark spot. So I'm just gonna put that out there, and now we can get started. So for the past several months, you guys know that I've gone through a lot of life changes. I kind of like blew up my whole life that I had, and now I have a completely different life, and I don't know how much of it is due to borderline and how much of it is due to non-borderline. I'm not even sure in my state of mind right now how to really differentiate between the two. I'm gonna talk about borderline today, just assuming that you guys know what it is, and if you don't, just Google borderline personality disorder and learn a bit about it, or watch my previous videos. I always link those. So just all of that aside, I'm just gonna talk like we're all on the same page here as far as what borderline is. I had a therapist for the last 5-6 years, right? And she was an out-of-network provider because she was a specialist for borderline. And I did a little bit of DBT therapy a couple years ago, which is a group therapy, but I really didn't like DBT at that time in my life, and I don't know if I would like it better now, but the point is I am no longer seeing that therapist. And I stopped seeing that therapist over the summer, last summer, because she was so expensive. And at first she was covered by my insurance, and then stuff happened with insurance, and now my insurance doesn't cover that type of therapist anymore. So I thought that I was okay, and I thought that I could handle all of this on my own with reading and, Drew, my person, and, boyfriend. I call him my FP. He's like my everything. And that's, I don't know. I read about this on Reddit, on a borderline Reddit, but like borderlines have this thing called an FP, which stands for favorite person. And they've likened it to autism in some ways. Like if you have ever known someone who is autistic, some autistic people, I don't know enough about autism to speak intelligently about it, but I do know that there are some autistic people who will be overly obsessive about something. So the example that they used was they were obsessive about, like, it was either trains or an episode of The Simpsons or Family Guy or something. It was some like specific thing, and they would obsess about that. And if they couldn't talk about that all day, then they got really upset and really mad, and their whole world was just crazy. And so for borderlines, we tend to do that with people. And so that can be a family member, a friend, or a relationship. For me, that's the relationship. So that's Drew for me. And he's my FP. He's my favorite person, which means that like I need him to be around daily, and I need him to be available to me, and he listens to me, and he helps me, and he fully knows like what's going on with me and like how to help me. And so it's really good. So it's definitely a very dependent, like emotionally dependent relationship, and for better or for worse, I don't know, but it helps me, and he's like one of the things, if not the thing, that keeps me going every single day. So there's a note on Drew because that's relevant. At least it seemed relevant when I started, so hang on. Okay, so I thought that I could do it. That's what I was talking about. So I thought that I could do it by myself, and with Drew and with reading, because I read a lot of books about borderline. I have recently realized that I can't. I am in a really bad borderline time right now where I am extremely emotionally all over the place, like just nuts. Like I am depressed and I am anxious and I'm super happy sometimes, but mostly I'm just mostly depressed and anxious. And it's not because my life circumstances make it that way. And that's what's so tough, is that even if everything was completely perfect in my life, I would still be feeling this way because of the borderline and because my borderline is currently untreated. So I don't know what to do because I don't have a therapist. And so this leads to like my biggest life problem right now, which is one of the things that's stressing me out the most, is that I can't afford a therapist because none of my insurance covers any therapist who is qualified to deal with borderline individuals, at least in New York City, that I have been able to find. And I have done research. So I do have a psychiatrist who has been prescribing medication for me to try to help me with my anxiety and stuff, because I'm at a point right now where I can't even work or do anything. I kind of just like, I don't know, I spend my days freaking out mostly, and that just compounds, and like my body just feels pain, and you know, it doesn't help because I have crazy polycystic ovaries that are like in torsion all the time, which is like really painful. And then I freak out that I have to go to the hospital, and then that's like a huge fear for me because I don't want to be around people who are throwing up. And like I'm telling you, like it just like, it's like this big thing, like I could go on forever. Like I have so much stress, and so much of it is not even about like real daily things. Like I feel like if I was stressed about my job, like if I had a really tough job and it was very stressful, then I would feel like I had the right to be stressed, or you know, whatever. But I don't. I just have this like crazy brain that's making me anxious about things that aren't even happening because they could happen. And that's like nuts. Like I can't do this. And so I have a psychiatrist, was the point. And she's been prescribing me things, and I started a couple months ago. I started with Prozac, and I thought that Prozac was really good because it was taking care of the depression. Like it really was. I was feeling good. I was definitely a little more moody. Like my mood swings were like a little nuts, but it's the first month of trying a new medication. It can be kind of weird. The problem for me is that it made me super anxious. And I already had a prescription for Xanax. I've had that for over a year now, and I used that for like very, very anxious situations. Like when I would have an anxiety attack, for instance, when I fly, like when I travel, I get nuts about that. I am super anxious in airports for reasons that I can't identify. So I would take Xanax is a really low dose, and it was always very monitored, and is still monitored by my psychiatrist, but I would use it for like incidentals, right? So I got on Prozac, and then Prozac upped my anxiety level, and I didn't realize that because I was so busy feeling happy that I wasn't depressed, that I wasn't realizing that I was having my panic attacks every day. It was like every day I'm like, oh my God, Drew, I need you to come like hold my hand because I can't breathe and my heart is racing and I feel like I'm gonna die or throw up or something. And like it's every single day, like it would be debilitating. And so I started to take the Xanax to help these panic attacks. So then I was taking Xanax every day, and I'm still taking Xanax every day. And I'm not thrilled about that because I don't want to be on a medication that's potentially very addictive every day, because I don't want to be reliant on something like that. I want to just figure out how to get better without that. So she had me get off Prozac, and then she put me on Celexa, and Celexa sucked. It was like the worst medication that I have ever been on, and it just made me feel crazy. Like I was confused all the time. I couldn't even really form sentences, and I was like dizzy and headaches and nauseous and just freaking out. Like it was really bad. I was literally on Celexa for 3 days, but it felt like 3 years because it was so miserable. So I called her and I told her, and she's like, oh my God, never take that again. Don't take that. You must be very sensitive, whatever. So I'm like, okay. So I know that like I have family members who have taken Zoloft before, and that has been effective because a lot of the borderline traits are hereditary. And so I feel like if Zoloft has worked in the past, then Zoloft should work for me. So I had her write me a script for that, and she was on board, and now I'm waiting for that. So I can't find it. I think it's at a different pharmacy that's like neither here nor there, but I'm supposed to be on Zoloft next. The main goal here is to get me a medication that I can take daily that will help regulate my anxiety, mostly because my anxiety is the craziest thing, and like I can't get through a day without having a panic attack, and I can't live like that because I can't get anything done, and I can't hold down a job, and I can't do anything. I'm like just this like person who just like freaks out all day, and like what kind of life is that? This is not the kind of life that I want, and I've resolved all of the things that would make me stressed like that. So medication wise, that's the situation. So I can tell this video is already really long, and I don't want to sit here and like talk to you guys, like talk your ear off for like an hour, but I don't know how to update you guys on everything without this being long, because just isn't something that you can sum up in a 7-minute video. So bear with me or not, I don't know. But my biggest problem right now is that I have taken away all of the stressors that I could possibly take away in my life. I have moved in with Drew and his mom, and so I have reestablished a family setting for myself, which is really good for me because I haven't lived in a family setting. I mean, I was married, but it wasn't like having more than one person to have your back, right? I haven't had that since I was 17 when my parents divorced. And so I really missed that. I have reestablished that family setting, and it's good because it means that I have less rent to pay, which is nice, because when I had my own little shitty apartment that I had over the summer, which I never showed you guys because it was literally really horrible, like roach infested, terrible apartment, nasty. Like I couldn't even really talk about it, but like I can tell you now it was not a good environment, and I'm just so happy to be out of that. So now, you know, I pay less rent because Drew and I have combined our rents, and, you know, it's wonderful to have Drew's mom with us because she's just like, she and I relate on a lot of levels, and she's like a fantastic Italian cook, so like, how can you complain about that? But it's just really nice because she happens to be home a lot right now at the phase in her life that she's in, and I'm home a lot because I can't do anything with myself. So at least I have someone to talk to when Drew's at work, and then when Drew comes home, then we're all together, and it's like a really wonderful thing. All of that to say, like, my living situation is really super wonderful and really super, like, good for me. My relationship is perfect. Drew is wonderful, and I'm, like, so happy with him. So that's not a thing, you know, that's causing me any stress or making my anxiety or anything. Like, he's so good, and he's so comforting, and he really knows how to help me and how to help me with my stress and everything, and that's what I need. I need someone who understands borderline and can have my back, and, you know, you guys know this if you're on my social media because I post about it all the freaking time. And so that's a non-stressor. My family is doing everything they can right now to actively continue learning about borderline and what I'm going through so that they can help me, and that's been really helpful too, because now they know how to talk to me. My mom is like actually really super cool about this because she has like developed the ability, or maybe it's just like a mom thing, I don't know, but she can tell how borderline I am just by my voice. So I'll call her, like, she lives in North Carolina and I live in New York City, so we don't see each other very often. I'll call her and she'll be able to tell me like, okay, you sound really borderline right now, and I'm like, do I don't feel that way, and she's like, no, you do, and she'll like rate it from a 1 to a 10. So that's always helpful because that helps me like figure out where I'm at. And my dad has struggled with a lot of the same things that I have, so I connect with him on a level that's like really amazing because I know I can call him and he's going to understand exactly how I feel and what I'm going through. So I definitely have family support like I haven't before, like not like I haven't before, like my family support is better than ever is what I'm trying to say. And so that's a great thing too. So it's like the one thing in my life right now that I can't resolve is my work situation. And I can't resolve it because I can't do it. And because I can't do it, it's like this cycle. So I can't do YouTube like I used to because it feels really big, and I can't even talk about it. Like, I'm sitting here just like stuttering because I don't even know how to put it into words, but like I don't always want to be on display, you know? Like there are days where I literally have to lay in bed all day because I'm in A, so much pain, B, so depressed, C, having an anxiety attack, whatever one it is, like I am completely debilitated. So I can't do YouTube as much as I want. I don't always have positive things to share on social media or otherwise, and I try because I love you guys and I want to be with you and I want to be doing this with you, but I just can't make it happen right now because my brain is just like, so I can't do that. And then aside from YouTube, I do have side jobs, but those side jobs are few and far between. And even when I do have work for those, it's like, can you hear my radiator? So loud. I don't know. When I do have those side jobs, they're few and far between. And like when I do have the work to do, it's like I can't even focus. And if I work for 5 minutes, it feels like I'm working for 5 years, and it drives me nuts because my brain just wants to shut down. So I'm in this part of my life right now where I'm completely debilitated by my brain and my amygdala and my serotonin and all the other chemical things that happen when you're borderline. And it's like I can't get my shit together. So I need a therapist, and this is my big problem. I can't afford a therapist because none of them are covered by my insurance. And what am I gonna do? Because I'm not working enough to make money. I can barely like keep my rent and food money enough to cover my month. Like I don't have an extra $100 a week to see a therapist, but without seeing that therapist, I'm not gonna get better. And then I'm not gonna make the money I need to live, and I'm just like freaking out. So I don't know what to do because the therapists that I have called who do not, so I've called therapists that are in my network that my insurance covers, right? I've called them and said, okay, hey, I'm Ellie, I'm borderline, I need help, this is my situation, and they don't return my calls because they don't do borderline, because they don't, I don't know why they don't, but they don't do borderline. So I can't even get my calls returned from therapists that are covered because people are freaking scared of borderline, and it's like not fair. And I just need help, and I feel like people just aren't taking it seriously. So I've had this idea because I'm like so out of options, and I can only do this for so long because literally I wake up every day and I feel like I'm awake for a year because I struggle throughout that day so much that I'm like so miserable. Besides, I don't know. Let me just be straight, because it's taken me long enough to get here, because I don't like to talk to you guys about these things, because I don't like to ask for help, and I don't like to ask for things, and I especially don't like to ask for money. But I just wanted to like put this out there and see what you guys think. Before I even ask for anything, I wanted to know your thoughts, because I know this can be controversial. I had this idea that since I can't figure out how to get insurance to cover my therapy, and since I don't have the money to cover it at all on my own, and I know future terms will have the money to cover that, does it make sense for me to do like a GoFundMe page where I set a goal of how much it would be for like, you know, a year of the therapy, and then see if I can get donations for that to cover that, and then when I get the money fully for the therapy, that would work, because I have spoken to a therapist who will do cognitive behavioral therapy, which is CBT, which I haven't ever done before, and I'm totally willing to try. I will do anything at this point, like anything. I just want to feel better. But if I can get a therapist who can do CBT, I know how much it will cost. You know, do I do that? Do I put up a GoFundMe page and say, okay, if we can reach the goal to get this therapy for me, I will make bi-weekly videos sharing the skills that I learn and like updating you guys on my progress. That way you guys can benefit from like A, not only getting more consistent updates from me, B, seeing my progress, but C, and most importantly, me sharing the skills that I'm learning so that people like you guys can learn. Even if you're not in CBT, you can still get CBT skills like through my journey. I don't know. I'm just out of options, and I feel like how else can I do this? I don't feel like I ask you guys for like real solid like help very often, because I just don't like to. I don't even know if I'm comfortable with it yet, but I don't know what else to do. So let me know in the comments below. And if you've made it this far in this video, then like thank you for watching this whole freaking thing, because it's long. But let me know in the comments what you think about that. Like, I just feel like if every person gave like $1, or if like a handful of people gave $1, like eventually we could get to the point where I would be able to get therapy. And at the same time, like, I know it's not your problem. Like, and I know it's not your responsibility at all to donate to me being able to get therapy. I just like, I just need help, and I don't know how else to get it, because I'm hitting insurance roadblocks every time I try, which just makes me feel more broken. So that's pretty much all the update that I have right now. My silver lining is that I have Drew, and that I know that I will be hopefully going down to see my family in February, because I really need to see my family. I haven't seen them since July, and I miss them really bad. So my silver lining is that I have a roof over my head, and I have Drew, and I have clothes, and I can eat, and I'm okay, you know? But I really need mental help. Like, I feel like I should have never stopped therapy, but I couldn't afford it, and I wasn't even being totally honest with my therapist at the end of everything, because I just think that we had lost our connection. But if I wouldn't have stopped, I might not have gotten this far down the spiral. But I don't know. It takes a lot for me to be honest with you guys like this, so I hope that it's not going to get like a bunch of hate and stuff. But I don't know. If nothing else, this is probably good for me to at least just like get it off my chest, you know? So I think that's everything I have to say for today. I really look forward to reading your comments about this, just to see what you guys have to say, because you guys are always like the best people ever. And I really hope that this didn't bum you out at all. And yeah, so I love you guys so much, and I really thank you for even just watching this, because even just watching this, like every view, you know, that I see that this gets, and every comment is someone having my back in that way, and so that's really good. So thank you for being there, like regardless of everything else. Like, just thank you for sitting in front of your screen and watching me talk to you about my struggles. Like, really, seriously, that's awesome, and I'm super thankful. So anyway, hope you guys are having an awesome day, and I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.